Wind your perpetual calendars for the big turn. Watches Tonight starts now. Did you miss me? I missed you guys.
Hi everyone, my name is Brian and welcome back to the Watch Insider. I am joined tonight by Tim Masso, and we've got an exciting show for you guys tonight.
Hello. Hi. Welcome. Happy Friday to a new edition, a new season, a new year of the Trading Desk. My name is Joshua Thanos, and this is my Morty, Jason Main.
Rick?
That's right.
Number 6, a Lange Sohne Saxonia thin copper blue. A blue dial CB from Saxony? You don't say. Nobody, and I mean nobody, saw the FP Journe Chronomet Bleu Killer coming from Germany. If anything, it was going to be a small brand Swiss manufacturer. It's a Richemont brand, and here it is, insane dial and all. And I do mean insane dial. Goldstone, flush with flecks of copper and gold. It is bottomless and it is brilliant. The Saxonia Copper Blue might be the first Lange in history for which the dial dominates, defines the watch, and forces the movement into a distant secondary role. This is a special piece for Lange. This lovely watch, 39 millimeters in diameter and only 6 millimeters thick with 3-day power reserve, is a giant killer in more ways than one. Besides taking the pelt of the Journe CB at SIHH, the 6 millimeter thick Saxonia cut down Lange's intended 2018 star, the triple split. Folks at the show were impressed by the chronograph. They were stunned by this. Killer of Giants, Aussie style. 7th on my list, Zenith Defy Classic. I prefer the solid dial, but there's several options. For $5,900 to $6,900, this is the best men's all-arounder of 2018. Defy Classic was also the lone highlight in a rather lean year for Zenith as a brand. 45 millimeters in your choice of ceramic or grade 5 titanium, available in solid dial, my preference, or open dial, and now with both Swiss Beats and Land Rover editions. This is a watch that you can get on bracelets or straps, and there are several straps, so you have plenty of options to fit the one that fits you. And 100 meter water resistant, fully loomed, automatic, and a true manufacturer product with Zenith Elite caliber 670 in every case. This is a fine only watch option if you're just looking for one really nice watch to be your lifestyle companion, or if you want a milestone watch to buy that's fairly affordable for an important person reaching an important milestone in his life. Omega, Rolex, you got to consider this alongside them because this is competitive with anything they make. Zenith needs to be in that discussion. Okay, so we're going to rock it with a 3940. 3940, originally introduced in late 1985 as a 1986 model. It was the successor to the 3450 in Patek Philippe's Perpetual Calendar continuity. Now, they made about 7,000 of them, but this particular variant with the Roman numerals, the chalk white dial, and the almost... I want to call them alpha hands, but they're the most extreme expression of alpha hands I've ever seen. Alphas are basically like dauphines that are pinched at their root at the center of the dial. These are not just pinched, but they're pinched and extended to create a phenomenal, almost spear style. I almost want to call them assegai or spear style hands in the form of Laurent Ferrier. The dial is handsome, beautifully symmetrical. It's got a bilateral symmetry about it thanks to the use of mono counters at 9 o'clock and 3 o'clock. And then the case back, well, we know this movement well. This is the 240 HU micro rotor automatic, 48 hours. This is back in the era of the Geneva hallmark. 27 jewels, 5-position adjustment, old school with Gyromax balance. That 22 karat winding mass is what allows you to have an automatic watch with a micro rotor that still winds efficiently. And the thing is, with a micro rotor, you get the benefit of a manual wind with a thin profile and a full display caseback, nothing blocked, but you get the convenience of an automatic, which is a nice thing to have when you've got a watch with a perpetual calendar. And I'll mention that this model, built from around late 1985 to early 2006, is considered to be one of the last great traditionally sized Patek Philippe complications. 36 millimeters, very wearable.
So the 3940 happens to be a reference that I've actually been lusting after for a while now. I think that for me, it happens to be one of the perfect sizes. And I love the aesthetic. I love the feel of it on the wrist. This particular watch was actually born with a different dial, and what I found so interesting about it is that this dial and hands was actually put onto the watch by Patek Philippe at Henry Stern, and it really just shows you that it, you know, how different the industry is that, you know, back in the 80s and 90s, you could have a dial swapped for a different one if you liked a different variation of the watch, and you wouldn't have to buy a whole new watch. So I just think it's very cool. You know, this is a full set piece. It even comes with an extract from the archives that mentions how, you know, the dial was changed to this particular dial.
And this, oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I just want to say this particular dial was a factory option and evidently a factory retrofit option. Around 1997, 98, 99, and 2000, this was a millennial variation on the standard Dauphine hand style of the original 3940. But yeah, a lovely piece and a very unconventional variant. Interesting that Patek used to do customs. It was considered pretty much par for the course back when the companies were smaller.
Yeah, you could just walk in and switch a dial.
And it's a lot like Aston Martin and Bentley back before they were, you know, owned by major conglomerates and private equity. The 60s, 70s, 80s, you would take your DB6 in, you could get it converted from manual to automatic and back, get it reupholstered, get everything custom done, and then replace it with the next owner. They were almost considered to be like living vessels for their owners' tastes, and this is an interesting example of that in the watch industry.
The GMT is unique in the fact that it has a different complication, right? It's not the same watch as the Submariner. I personally like the way that the sub sits on the wrist a little bit better than GMT. I feel like the Batman
is a thicker case,
right?
Even though the
that's what I'm saying.
Rolex
I like the way that the sub sits on the wrist better. The Batman, I would make the argument that it's better aesthetically because it's a more monotoned watch, but it's different enough that it stands out. I think it is much better than the all black one. So when the original, when this piece came out, and it was one or the other, and they were the same, like, why not get the Batman? Because it's kind of cool. So now, the price differential, if I absolutely, let's say I had the Hulk already and I wanted to go get a GMT, I would just get the all-black GMT because the price differential is crazy. You're talking thousands of dollars differential between the, just for the
value
bezel.
Play there, yeah.
Yeah, so I would probably go with the all-black, but...
I mean, I'd say, so the GMT is definitely more versatile. That can be your only watch, honestly.
Right, that's what...
If you only had one watch in your collection, the Batman GMT... can work. It can work as a sport watch. It can work as a dress watch. It's not overly flashy, but it's got enough to be, you know, to give you a little bit of pep in it, you know, with the blue.
The kicker is the buckle.
Yeah. So, well, if they had the glide lock, that would set that watch off and make it perfect. You know, I guess the reasoning for that is, you know, it's not a dive watch, and that's a dive clasp. I understand Rolex, but
to me, that's an excuse for after the fact. It's like, I feel like Rolex is like, that's how it is, that's how we made it, that's how it's going to stay. There's no, like, same thing with the Oyster Flex bands. Like, there's so much room for improvement that they could fix the Oyster Flex, the rubber bands, but that's how it is, that's how we made it, that's how it's going to stay.
You're right.
Like, why wouldn't you just put that buckle on the Batman and on every sport model watch? So if it wasn't a dive watch, then why is there an Easy Link? You know?
Well,
there's a little bit of flexibility.
Right, small amount.
This buckle is the absolute best buckle on any Rolex. So why it would not be on all sport model watches, I don't understand.
Again, well, because for them, their reasoning is that that's a dive clasp to go over like a wetsuit, whereas that's where you need all that. I mean, thing is, people aren't spending $11,000 on it because you could buy a Sunto dive watch, which is
in terms of for diving.
Infinitely better for diving, and you can pay what, like $3 or $4 grand for one of those or less.
Not
I don't
even,
know.
Man.
Used to sell those watches.
Yeah, you can get. I mean, you could buy something.
Like
you can dive
$1,200
in for at least like $600.
$600 for a Sunto, and that's a real dive watch that'll save your life.
Yeah.
But you know, so that's their reasoning. The Hulk is certainly part of a larger collection. It has the better clasp. In terms of resale, it got to the point where it's at faster than the Batman. Though the Batman now they're about on par in terms of resale.
I would say that the Hulk is still held to a higher standard as far as the market than the Batman, but the Batman's on its way there. 2 years ago, the rumor was that the Hulk was going to be discontinued. That's what started the whole hype behind the Hulk, and it never got discontinued, but it slowly just became on fire because that rumor. Now we're starting to hear, to answer some of the people in the comments, we are starting to hear as early as, what was it, about 2 weeks ago, we heard about the Batman. There were rumors getting out there that it was going to be discontinued. It was like towards the end of last year. nobody really knows what's going to happen until it happens.
Well, Rolex does not.
Right. It's like Apple. Like, you just don't know until it happens.
Well, yeah, exactly. There's no. So the people who are making these decisions aren't leaking these answers.
Right.
Because in the end, they're selling these watches, regardless if they're being discontinued or not. Right? So they don't need speculators, because that's what that does. If it's being discontinued, then the people who maybe aren't in love with the watch, but are interested in buying something that's going to go up in value, speculators are going to go buy those watches and create more demand. Rolex doesn't need that,
so
especially now.
Do you think there'll be a time in the near future that the Batman gets to the Hulk's level as far as secondary market?
I think they're at there now.
I mean, I don't think so. Like,
I think the last one I heard that was sold.
If somebody says I have 2 watches, right?
Mm-hmm.
Both watches are new with stickers on them, box papers, and I need to sell the watches. Which one are you? So certainly for me, the Hulk is a more viable purchase choice. As far as secondary market.
So let me ask you a question, Jason. The last confirmed sale on a Hulk, how much? Do you know?
13.5.
Oh no, I don't think it was that much.
Yeah,
it was 12. Was it 13.5?
13.5.
Wow, I've been away for 2 weeks.
So
I know that the last confirmed sale on a Batman that I know of for pre-owned like new was 11.5, which is more than just a few weeks ago. So I guess you're right.
If the rumor is true,
mm-hmm.
and the Batman is discontinued at Basel, and the Hulk is not, which I don't know how that would happen.
The Hulk becomes a $15,000 watch.
Right.